Hello, everyone. This is Rick, and welcome to Astral Club. This is Astral Shape-Shifting. Before we get into it, just want to mention Patreon. If you'd like to support Astral Club and the work we do on Patreon, you can do so by going to the description and clicking on the link. And when you join, you get advanced episodes on Sunday, a library of downloaded episodes for your podcast app, a Patreon email, a direct mail, and a chat section, and just a lot of ways that we can talk back and forth. And if you're interested, as I said, it's down in the description. Just click on the link. Next up is private lessons. If you'd like a lesson to learn how to astral project, and you can ask all your questions. I customize the lesson to the interest of each individual. All you have to do is go down to the description and send an info in email, just asking for some more information. Okay. Astral shape-shifting. This question came to me from Jade Cross. So thank you for that idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the basic idea here, as well as an exercise and then some examples. What is astral shape-shifting? Well, we know in the physical, we can change our shape. It takes time, it takes effort, but we can do it. We can go to the gym and work out over a period of time and change our body quite drastically. Or we can decide to eat lots of pizza and Coke and also change our body quite drastically. So we can do that in the physical. It just takes longer. It takes energy. In the astral, you still require energy, thought energy, but the time factor is very much shortened. When you appear in the astral normally, you may appear clothed in whatever clothes you wore to bed. You may also appear naked. I've noticed that traveling in the middle and upper astral, there's really no shame associated with just being naked. I know there are probably some people who would feel self-conscious. I guess I'm not one of them. I probably should be, but I'm not. But there are times and places where you want to blend in. And by astral shape-shifting, by using your will to shift your outside appearance, you can fit in more readily into whatever area, level, time period you're trying to assimilate into. Let me give you an exercise that you can practice in the physical to get ready for the mental discipline that will be required to shapeshift in the astral. Now, before I get started, I want to just give this warning. Anyone who's been diagnosed with schizophrenia or any type of dissociative disorder, you should not do this exercise. Everyone else, though, is fine. What you want to do is go to a mirror in your bathroom. You probably want to have some privacy because you'll look odd. And you want to stare into the mirror for a while, looking at your image and just kind of observe what you look like, what clothes you're wearing, how your hair looks. And then I want you to start imagining what your hair, for instance, would look like with a different color or a different type of haircut. And see if you can use your imagination to see that in the mirror. Once you get that done, you can start having a little bit more fun. Change the shape of your body in the mirror. Imagine being thinner or being larger. Imagine yourself wearing different clothing. Imagine wearing a hat or gloves or a cape. This could take a little while, staring in the mirror till you really get the hang of it. But what you're practicing here is the mental energy that you will exert in the astral to actively take on that particular type of shape or that particular type of clothing. Both are involved in shape shifting your actual body, your face, and clothing. And this can be used in a wide variety of instances. So let me give you a few examples. Number one, let's say you decide you want to do some rescue work. Well, that's going to put you in the lower astral. Now, in the lower astral, you're going to encounter some suffering entities, and their suffering can translate into not only hopelessness and despair, but it can also transform into anger. If you want to wander through an area to get somewhere and not be disturbed, my favorite shape has always been just a figure with a black robe with a cowl that goes down over my face. I find that walking through the lower astral, dressed like that, you get left alone. There's nobody who really, for the most part, wants to mess with you because you're an unknown factor, and most of the entities down there who'd want to attack are cowardly to begin with. There's something about that figure that just scares a lot of entities off. However, when you get to the actual rescue, you're not going to want to be dressed like that any longer. In that case, what I've done in the past is I have done a scan of the individual who is asking for help. And if you can scan, just a light scan, you can get an idea as to what kind of person they were, if they believed in various religious figures, trusted relatives. I mean, I've appeared anything from an angel to Jesus to grandmothers and grandfathers. Anything that could put the person at ease. And once again, what you're doing there is when you scan them and you get the information, you make a mental effort to become that figure, to take on that shape. And if it works, then you will appear like that figure, that angel, that whatever. And then you'll be able to put them at ease and to help these poor lost souls. Another time you could use this, and I just mentioned it a little bit before, is if you're just cruising the lower astral. I mean, the lower astral, I like the black hooded figure because it just keeps everybody at bay. But there's other uses like time travel, for instance. Now, when you go into the past, you usually don't have to worry about shape shifting because 99.99% of the time, you will not be seen. You're just a ghostly entity with absolutely no power to do anything on the physical plane. For example, when I went into the future about 150 years in this possible future, there was, I found myself amongst this field of these circular type shelters that were deeply bolted into the ground. And they were prepared for a disaster, which turned out to be a tsunami of epic proportions. Somehow they had prepared for this. I mean, these things are based on a shore, and I guess they somehow knew this was going to be happening, so they prepared for it. Everybody was dressed in an orange jumpsuit. So I instantly, as soon as I saw everybody running around in these orange jumpsuits, I dressed myself in that orange jumpsuit so that when I approached one of the people buy these spheres, and when I looked inside, there was these chairs with seat belts, and I mean bolted all in. They were bolted to the floor, and I could tell the ovals were bolted deep into the earth. And they were all wearing these jumpsuits, so I was able to blend in, although not quite, because when I started asking questions, they could tell that my thoughts weren't coming through the link, and that's what they called it. They called it the link. And I remember them asking me, "Is something wrong with your link?" So it can be tough sometimes to fit in, even when you try. But at least dressing yourself up like I did with the jumpsuit, I didn't completely stand out. Other times when I've gone far into the future with my tribe, for instance, before I landed and introduced myself to them, I clothed myself in the same type of skins that they were wearing because I didn't want to scare them and I wanted to blend in. Let's go to another planet. I remember when I first went to Planet Haven, and I discovered just through a mental scan, I just did a general mental scan of the area. I sensed that there was intelligence in the plants. And so when I saw some of the plants approaching me, I instantly changed to try to match them so that I appeared like one of them, like one of their plants. Now, they weren't deceived. And they soon told me that it wasn't necessary what I was doing. But I still held it. I still held the image for my first visit there because, my animal appearance, even for a race as advanced as the Havenites, might still trigger something in them. And so I wanted to play it safe until I got to know them better. So I kept the image of the plant form while I was dealing with them on that first visit. One thing I like to add is when you're dealing with a telepathic species like the Havenites, you have to also try to change your thoughts, and that's a little bit more difficult. For instance, when I scanned them and their thoughts, I tried to take on those thoughts and think like they were thinking. That can take a lot more energy and a lot more skill. My whole life, though, I've been able to diplomatically negotiate with people. And the way I've done that, and I've read lots and lots of books. I love firsthand accounts, especially, of all different types of people. People in everyday life, people in the past, people in war zones, people in POW camps, because I wanted to understand the world through their eyes. And I think that's necessary in order to do this type of masquerade, because you have to be able to take on their mental scape and think as they do. And the better you are at that, the easier it is to be accepted. I remember when I was sucked into that Loosh dimension where those bulbous energy plasma creatures were wandering around. And I scanned them, and when I did that, I attracted their attention. And I tried my best to try to take on their shape, which I think I did more or less pretty well. But trying to capture how they thought, that was much more difficult. And I don't think I got that right because they were able to detect me immediately. When you're dealing with non-human entities, especially something as alien as a plasma creature, it can become very difficult. Because even though I see myself as somebody who can think like a lot of different types of humans and maybe even some near human type entities, the more alien they are, the more difficult that becomes. When I'm amongst the grays, for instance, I find that my thinking process becomes much more ordered, much more logical, and non-emotional. And it's just something that I've noticed that I just naturally fall into when I'm communicating with them. And that's just another form of masquerade. It's just another form of shape shifting. The idea being that you want to fit in and you want to put the other entities at ease. Because no matter where I've gone, time and space, the familiar is always more welcome than the alien. So that's what I wanted to talk about here. So the next time you project, take some time to see exactly how you're dressed, if you're dressed, and play around a little bit as you're flying through the air. Try to imagine yourself clothed in a black hood or whatever else you want to imagine. Start practicing because you get better as you practice. And then when you start communicating with other entities, try to scan them, a light scan, and to try to take on their thought patterns as best as possible. I think you'll find that you'll become much more welcome when no matter who you're meeting and who you're interacting with. Okay, that's what I wanted to talk about. If you liked it, please hit the like button, share it with those of like minds, subscribe if you haven't already. Questions and comments. What do you think about the shape-shifting ideas? If you try the mirror technique, let me know if it's successful. When you project, what are you usually dressed in? And do you ever try to, clothe yourself in something different? Let me know. At any rate, this is Rick, and I will see you on the astral plane.